You do not have to go out and party with people right before the concert. It's okay. It's okay. Today we're going to be talking about toxic musician traits. And while they're not all going to be toxic per se, they are going to touch on some things that I feel like a lot of us either don't like to talk about or don't like to think about, or both. And they might be affecting your artistry. So let's talk about it. I'm very sorry if I come across as lectury in this video. I'm extremely nervous and this is my first sit-down video on YouTube, so please leave an encouraging comment. The first thing that we as musicians need to work on is this idea of being always independent and not collaborating. You are going to need to collaborate with other musicians or directors or other people in the industry if you're going to make it. I'm sorry, that's just the reality. The number of projects that I've worked on that need other people, basically all of them. Excuse me, I was just sick. Most of us get taught privately. Most of us sit in a practice room with ourselves and our instrument and or our teacher, and that's it. Nobody really talks about how important it is to build your networking skills, your communication skills, and really hone your group member abilities. And let's put it this way, nobody's going to want to work with you if you're a nasty person. Whether you're a classical musician needing to work with an accompanist or in an ensemble, or you are a pop musician and you are working on music videos or production or anything that doesn't involve you sitting by yourself in your studio, which, let's face it, most of us don't want to do that forever, you're probably going to need to work with someone. So get on that and stop thinking that you are always alone, because you're not. It's really hard for a lot of us to let go of this control. I really should not be criticizing this at all, because I am like the prime candidate for being a control freak, especially when it comes to my own music, my own production. I just don't like other people having their hands on it. So if you are someone that I have let work on a project with me, please know that you are an amazing individual and that I'm putting a lot of faith in you, which means I view your skills very highly. The second toxic trait is prioritizing performance over theory, history, business, networking, literally anything else. Okay, and this is something, again, a classical world is so guilty of. Just because you're a good performer doesn't mean that you're going to make it. I know so many musicians that are amazing performers that either didn't bother to learn about all these things and are struggling because of it, or just don't think it's important and they're not where they want to be and they don't know why. This is a very competitive industry. You're going to need a lot of different skills in order to make it, and I definitely found this out firsthand. A lot of these things are things that I think we need to be taught as musicians instead of merely just performance, because a lot of our teachers only focus on performance. Did anybody ever teach you how to look at a contract? Maybe, probably not. Do we pay attention in history class? Like most of us? Let's be honest, no, we don't. The third trait that you should actively avoid is comparison. Now, you've probably heard this a million times. I get it. Comparison, blah, 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 affects your mental health. Yes, all of that's true. However, that's not the way that I mean it. I mean, comparison will sometimes hold you back too. And not because of negative mental health, but because you won't necessarily push yourself the way that you otherwise would. You're not competing against other people, you're competing against yourself. I got to the point where I was stagnating because I did pretty well in my little area, and then I thought, I've won this competition, gotten this medal, whatever. That doesn't mean that you've gotten to the top of your game. My piano teacher always said, big fish, little pond versus little fish, big pond. If you're the big fish in the little pond, then like, why would you need to work harder? Versus all the good musicians that she's ever met think of themselves as little fish in a big pond. Like, there is going to be someone better than you. There will always be someone better than you out there, so keep that in the back of your mind. And that is one of the biggest lessons that she ever taught me. And that is why I won things, not because of just my work ethic. Be your own critic. Do it in a way that is positive as well as objective. You don't need to beat yourself up, but also be aware of the fact that you do still need to push yourself. Number 4, please know your boundaries. When you are working on a higher level, no one's gonna tell you when to take a break. No one's gonna tell you to stay home. No one's gonna tell you when you need more sleep. You need to know all those things. This may sound obvious, but the number of musicians that I see pressured to go out and party after a concert when they don't want to do that. They need to not do that in order to be at their best. If you have a very long performance day where you're having a rehearsal, maybe you're doing multiple rehearsals because you have different forms of ensembles, and you've got your concert in the evening, and you just have like this tiny window of time to reset between your day of work and like showtime, please know that you do not have to go out and party with people right before the concert. It's okay. It's okay. Do what you need to do to get in the right mental frame to be your best. And if you're feeling guilty about this, please know that I was informed. I heard this secondhand, but Hugh Jackman apparently goes home after his shows, or did when he was doing them, and goes to bed, rests his voice. If Hugh Jackman can do it, so can you. Be really protective of that space, because it's really easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing and to go out. Like, I had friends that would be like,
oh, Sophia, come out with us. Like, we don't want you to feel left out and we want to talk to you. And I'm like, I love you guys, but I'm sorry. I'm okay. Don't worry about me. I just need some time.
And if they're your friends, they'll get it. They'll give you space. You'll be fine. You can still network and meet people. Just do it on the terms that you need to do. What? You can still network and meet people, just do it in a way that allows you to flourish. That's what I'm trying to say. Number 5. If I just had X. Picture this. You're looking at your studio. All you see is not the equipment that you have, the equipment that you don't have. And you're like,
there's that project that I really need to do, but like I can't do that unless I get blank expensive product.
While this is true to an extent, yes, you might need to upgrade your equipment. Don't use that as an excuse to not do the work. Good equipment is not a substitute for the work. It's a tool. Equipment helps you get a better result from your work. You could have all the equipment in the world, as like I've got a lot of nice stuff. This is a personal thing that I'm trying to do to get myself in the right headspace to actually break this mentality for myself and do the work, use the equipment, and not care so much about what other people think, like making this video right now. So please, if you like this video, please leave me an encouraging comment and maybe like the video. If you like the video, like the video. As I've heard other YouTubers say, I stole that. Yeah, don't come for me. Number 6, teaching without seeking pedagogy instruction. Now, when I say this, it doesn't have to be super formal, even if that's just from your own teachers or an independent institution. Like, it doesn't have to be university stuff. I'm not doing university music teaching training. However, I do regularly correspond with my teachers, and I am always looking to work on my personal development as a teacher and take training courses like from conservatories, so that I can give students the best experience possible. A lot of us see teaching as a good way to make money, which is true, but you also have a responsibility. We all have a responsibility as music teachers to give that probably child an education in music, and to do it in a way that doesn't hurt them or give them bad habits later on. You don't know where that student might end up. They could be the next big thing. If you don't do your job right, they won't be. Especially when you have young minds that you're responsible for. Please don't just do whatever. Like I said, it doesn't have to be formal, but please seek out people that know more about that discipline than you. Like, it's not just something that everyone can do. There are performers that are terrible teachers, and there are teachers that aren't, the best performers, but that are amazing at their craft. Number 7, assuming other musicians are out to get you. This is definitely something that I'm guilty of, and I know we're always competing against each other for grants or in competitions, but they're really not. And most of the musicians that I've worked with and met and that I'm friends with are some of the nicest people that I know, and they can understand me in ways that other people can't. A lot of non-musicians don't understand how difficult this industry can be, and other musicians do. So it's really weird in some ways that the only people that will fully get where we're coming from, aka other musicians or sometimes other artists, we are pitting ourselves against each other, and that's not healthy. Number 8, taking one expert's word as total law when it comes to criticism. This is not saying by any means that you should not take artistic criticism seriously, because you need to. However, the number of competitions that I've been in where I or another student should have won, it's obvious to everyone there, whether they're teachers or other competitors, and then they didn't win, it can be very disappointing. But when you have one person judging everything, they're obviously going to lean a certain way, and we're humans, we're biased, sometimes we make mistakes. And that's true for adjudicators, and art is very subjective. That's true for competition as well. Just because one person doesn't prefer it doesn't mean that that's true for everyone. I have a cousin who is extremely talented in drawing and cartooning and all types of visual art that I never in a million years could do. And she applied for this program that she desperately wanted to get into, and they rejected her because she didn't have qualities that they were looking for or whatever. And I was flabbergasted when I heard that, because she is immensely talented. She's very creative. She's always been that way since she was little. Everyone around her knows she's talented. Her friends, other people in the program that she's in now, think that she should be in the original program. When you have a few people gatekeeping, it won't always go your way, and that's okay, because there will be other opportunities. I've also had experiences where one person says, oh, your diction's great, and another person says, it's terrible. So, you can't win them all. You can't win them all. Number 9 is having an all or nothing mentality. Art, as I mentioned, is very subjective. That generally means that when we're trying to make sense of the value of a work, we categorize and we try to make things as clear and black and white as possible, but that's not always healthy. Thinking of things as good versus bad or simply win versus lose isn't accurate and isn't helpful for us. I do this again where I'll think, oh, that was a bad practice. What was bad about it? I still practiced. I may not have done whatever it was that I wanted to do, but that can help me learn as well. And that is why we practice in the first place. Sometimes we lose an opportunity that we later find out wasn't the right fit for us anyway. Instead, it might be helpful to reframe things as long-term versus short-term, or even healthy versus unhealthy, although that sometimes can be a slippery slope too. Putting yourself on a roller coaster of emotions isn't beneficial for anyone, especially you. And number 10, taking yourself both too seriously and too lightly. Most of us tend towards one extreme or the other. I know I'm definitely prone towards the too seriously part, where I can easily overwork. I mean, my mother's Asian. She is always working on something. My dad's similar too, not Asian. But I grew up in an environment where if you weren't working, you were lazy, which means that now I struggle with taking breaks, truly letting myself recharge, even over something as simple as Christmas vacation, which I've talked about on my Instagram stories. The problem with that mentality is it can affect your vulnerability, which will affect your art. Art is by nature an extension of its creator. This can also close you off to things like opportunities or networking, because you're so focused on what you have to do that you forget to look in front of you at what you could do and what things just come your way, and you don't take those opportunities to make something different. On the flip side, I know a lot of musicians who maybe should take their craft a little bit more seriously, especially students. I know that's a time to connect with people, go out and have fun and see shows, and yes, all of that is really good for you as a human, so that you can have something to reflect on and then write about, use as inspiration. But, and this is based on a true story, I'm not looking at the camera, I'm not naming names. If you're going out to get bubble tea every single day instead of practicing when you have multiple performances coming up, or when you're spending all your time after shows partying when you know inside of yourself that you need rest, it might be time to rein it in just a little. While friends are important for your mental health and future and for networking, sacrificing discipline for the easy way out is not going to help you in this industry. If you liked this video, please maybe tag someone who you think needs to hear it, or leave a comment, and I would appreciate that so much. Maybe I should add that. Is that like a bonus? Like, none of us liking to hype ourselves up? We don't like doing that. I don't know. That is all for today's video, and hopefully I'll be doing more of these, so tell me if you liked it. I have a lot of things that I want to talk about, so you'll probably be seeing more of these videos in the future. My Instagram is Sophia Kors. My Twitter is Sophia Kors Music, and all of my DSPs, streaming platform, Spotify, etc. is just Sophia Kors. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.